All right, so you're about to dive into the extended essay. My name is, well, you can just call me your EE coach, and I'm here to guide you through what can feel like this massive mountain to climb, but is actually an incredible intellectual quest. We're going to conquer it together.
4,000 words. Yeah, that number can feel a little terrifying, right? But I want you to look at it a different way. This is your shot to become a real expert on something you actually care about. It's your own personal academic adventure. So, let's get you ready to go.
So every good quest needs a map, and this is ours. First, we're going to understand what we're up against. Then, we'll find your focus, dive deep into the research, figure out how to build a killer argument, and finally, look back and reflect on the whole journey. See? Totally manageable.
And our quest officially begins now. You know, every great story starts with a call to adventure. For us, that means really getting a handle on what the extended essay is, and more importantly, why it's probably one of the most valuable things you'll do in the IB.
So what exactly is the extended essay when you get right down to it? Well, the key words here are in-depth study and topic of your choice. This isn't just another paper your teacher assigned. No, this is your project. It's your chance to take the wheel and build the kind of skills you're absolutely going to use in university and beyond.
And don't just take my word for it. This quote from the IB really gets to the heart of why this whole thing matters so much. The skills you build doing this, critical thinking, solid research, clear communication, these aren't just for passing a class. They are literally what universities and future employers are looking for. The essay is the product, sure, but the real prize, it's the person you become along the way.
Okay, now for what I think is the most important step in your entire journey, drawing your map. This is all about going from a vague, general interest to a super sharp, focused research question. Honestly, if you nail this part, everything else becomes so much easier.
So, where do you even begin? It all starts with you. What are you geeking out about? What are you genuinely curious to learn more about? The best essays always, and I mean always, come from a place of real passion. Let's take this example, gender and sport. It's big, it's relevant, it's got a ton of angles, it's a perfect starting point. Okay, so you've got this big, exciting topic. Now we've got to shrink it down. You have to ask yourself, what part of gender and sport really grabs me? Is it the media coverage, the pay gap, the history of it all? And then, which of your DP subjects gives you the right toolkit, the right concepts and methods to really dig into that specific angle?
And as you think about how to investigate it, you've basically got two main paths you can take. You can go for a subject-focused approach, going really deep using the lens of just one class, like history or biology, or you can take an interdisciplinary route and blend two subjects, maybe something like global politics and literature, to find some really cool, unique connections.
And after all that work, all that narrowing down, boom, you land on a question like this one. See how we went from that huge topic of gender and sport to something incredibly specific and arguable? This is your destination. It's not just asking for a simple fact. It's asking how and why, which sets you up to build a real argument. Okay, you have your map, you have your destination. Now the real adventure begins. It's time for the research deep dive. This is where you become a detective, gathering clues and evidence. But it's so important that you do it the right way. Ethically, effectively, and with your eyes open to all the tools you can use. Now, your research is going to break down into two main types. Primary research is stuff you collect yourself. Running an experiment, sending out a survey, doing an interview. Secondary research is when you dive into what other experts have already published. And let me be crystal clear here. The secondary part, the literature review, that's not optional. It is required for every single extended essay.
All right, I need you to listen very carefully to this next part. This is absolutely non-negotiable. Academic integrity is the foundation of everything we're doing. Your work has to be yours, and when you use the ideas of others, you have to give them full credit. Citing your sources isn't just some annoying rule. It's you showing respect and joining an ongoing academic conversation. It is the absolute core of what it means to be an ethical researcher.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI. Look, these tools can be an amazing assistant. You can use them to brainstorm ideas or even explore counter-arguments. But, and this is a big but, you are the thinker. You are the researcher. The AI doesn't write your essay. Your job is to think critically, to filter everything it gives you, and to check its sources. You've got to develop your prompt engineering skills. Don't just ask it a basic question. Tell it what role to play, give it context, guide it. That's how you get real value. And of course, you always have to acknowledge when and how you used it. Be transparent.
Phew, Okay, you've done the deep dive, you've got pages of notes and sources. Now comes the really exciting part, the climax of our quest, crafting your argument. This is where you take all that raw material and shape it into a powerful, persuasive essay that makes your case.
Look, don't try to reinvent the wheel here. This classic structure is your best friend for a reason. You need an introduction that sets the stage and clearly states your question. A body where you build your argument piece by piece, backing everything up with evidence. And a conclusion that brings it all home and gives a final, powerful answer to your research question. It's simple, it's clear, and it works. Now pay close attention, because this right here is probably the biggest difference between a good essay and a great one. You have to move beyond just describing things. Don't just tell me what happened, tell me how it happened and why it matters. The example on the left, it's just an observation. The one on the right, that's analysis. It digs into the technique, the how, and the effect, the why. That is where the points are. And just like that, we're at the final stage of our quest. But the journey isn't over just because you've typed the last sentence. Nope. The final and honestly a really crucial part is looking back on everything you've accomplished and thinking about what you've learned.
So, after you've handed in that masterpiece and you've had your final chat with your supervisor, that's called the Viva Vox, you get to write this final reflective statement. It's only about 500 words, but it's your space to talk about the process, the challenges, the breakthroughs, the skills you picked up. It's all about what this journey meant to you.
So, we've come full circle, haven't we? Back to the idea of a quest. The extended essay, it's designed to change you. You start out with just a tiny spark of a question, and you finish with this incredible 4,000-word paper that is 100% yours. So as you finish up, I want you to ask yourself this question. How has this journey changed you? Good luck on your quest. It was an honor to be your guide.